Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Swaminarayanaya Namaha. Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Gunatito Aksharam Brahma Bhagavan Purushottamaha. Jano Janannidam Satyam Muchyate Bhavabandanat. Om Shri Swaminarayanaya Namo Namaha. Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Shri Radha Krishnaya Namaha. Om Namo Hanumate Bhayabanjanaya. Sukham Kuru Bhat Swaha. Okay. Welcome to SwaminarayanSpirituality.com. We are continuing our exploration and exposition of Vachanamrutam of Shri Swaminarayan. This is a scripture that is originally written in Gujarati, and this attempt here is to give some expounding thoughts and ideas on the glory of Vachanamrut and the teachings of the Vachanamrut. So before we begin, I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages, past, present, future, and to the Supreme Being, Parabrahma, who resides in the heart of all. So with that prarthana, to continue from where we were last time regarding Vachanamrut, the first Vachanamrut is Garada Pratham number 1, and it discusses the subject of Akhandavritti. Akhandavritti means unbroken contact with God. So we've gone into this in some detail in the last several recordings. We've talked about what is meant by the Swarup of Bhagavan. And last time, as I mentioned, this can be looked at in a traditional sense. It can be looked at in terms of the avatars and the incarnations. It can also be looked at in terms of the presence of the Supreme Being, Parabrahma, in the Sadguru, through the Sadguru. It can have that kind of meaning also. Here, Maharaj is talking about the manifestation on earth. So whenever the word Swarup is used, that is talking about manifestation here, either in the form of the Aracha Swarup or the physical forms also that are present. I also mentioned last time that as per the Shikshapatri of Sri Sajanand Swami Maharaj, the Agnya given to the devotees is to worship Bhagavan Sri Krishna. And there's a lot of controversy today and has been for quite a while regarding why the devotees of Sajanand Swami worship Sajanand Swami and as Ishta Devata, and why Sri Krishna is there, but Sri Krishna Bhagavan is not necessarily worshipped as the Ishta Devata. So what are the reasons behind that? Those things will come in the future sometime. But right now, we want to understand Sajanand Swami in the form of Sadguru, in the form of one who is speaking from his own realization. And there is quite a bit of psychology in this. There's quite a bit of realization of the mechanisms of the mind and of thought and of emotion, of desires, and of the ability that we have to keep the mind connected with Paramatma. So the question here that has been posed is about sadhana. What is the most difficult and most intricate sadhana? So as we have stated before in our contemplation, that Maharaj is talking about a continuous link with Bhagavan. Akhanda means unbroken link. That is the basic idea. Now, that unbroken link is the essence of all yogas, as we have said before also. Just in summary form, we have talked about that. What is of real importance here and of paramount significance in general is the relationship with Ishta Devata. When there is a relationship established, there is bhajan, bhakti, kirtan, mahima, and the devotee spends considerable amount of time in that connection. So having said that, Maharaj then continues further and asks this question, about Akhandavritti, And then he also answers the question himself, because he couldn't get a satisfactory answer from all the devotees. So he said there that the continuous akhanda vritti in Paramatma is the greatest of all sadhana, and there is no greater realization than that. The realization opens up completely. So Shriji Maharaj here stated that the vritti is kept as unbroken in the sense because there is glory and mahima. When the vritti becomes unbroken, it reaches an unbroken stage, it opens up the spiritual dimension. It opens up divine experience by the grace of Paramatma. So Shriji Maharaj is saying here that there are many ways of trying to understand akhanda vritti. Throughout the Vachanamrut, many sadhanas are given, but the primary sadhana given in this Vachanamrut, the first one, is that the attempt to keep one's mind in connection with Bhagavan. That attempt itself is the greatest sadhana. So he says there is no greater difficult sadhana than that. So when he's talking about the Swarup of Bhagavan, the Swarup of Bhagavan is where there is a recognition on the bhakta's part, on the devotee's part, that who is sitting in front of me, the murti that is in front of me, the Sadguru that is in front of me, either is holding God or is God himself in that human form, or in that Archa Swarup form. And that is where the devotee in the human body deliberately and with great love and affection maintains, at first establishes and then maintains connection with Bhagavan. So to establish the connection is the first part. Then to maintain the connection is the second stage. And then to maintain it without breakage is the final stage. So there are 3 stages here. So to establish the connection is a big thing to begin with, because our connection is already established with these worldly activities. So that is there. But that same connection can get established with Paramatma in bhakti. Of course, Jnana, Vairagya and Dharma and other qualities are connected to bhakti. Jnana as a supporter of bhakti. Jnana is the manan chintan of the Atma and the mind and the falsity of the world as per Advaita Vedanta. That is Jnana. From Advaitic point of view. From Vishishtadvaita point of view, Maharaj himself defined Jnana as to understand clearly Jeev, Ishwar, Maya from Ramanujacharya's point of view. So Jnana is a supporter of bhakti, Vairagya is a supporter of bhakti, Dharam, Niyam is a supporter of bhakti. Bhakti is everything. It is the loving, pure, inside the heart connection with Bhagavan. And that is done through bhajans, mantras, stotras, kirtan. It is done through variety of different types of forms of bhakti, the 9 forms of bhakti. So the internal connection is from the heart. And that's the key. That's our goal. Those who are devotees want to utilize the emotional capacity that exists within us and infuse the emotion with the divinity of Bhagavan, with the form of Bhagavan, or emotion gets connected with Bhagavan, with God, Paramatma, through bhajan, kirtan, through mantras, through Guru Seva, through all of that. The basking in divinity, the absorption continuously in that realm of divinity. So that kind of absorption is the greatest of realization. Maharaj is saying here, he's saying that there is no greater sadhana, there is no more difficult sadhana. He's saying here that the difficulty is of the highest level because the realization that comes from that is also of the highest level. So he says here in Gujarati, and I'll translate it, Ane je manushana manni akhand vritti, je manushana manni vritti ભગવાનના સ્વરૂપમાં અખંડ રહે છે, તેને તેથી બીજી અધિક પ્રાપ્તિ શાસ્ત્રમાં કહી નથી. There is no greater attainment than that. Because the murti of Bhagwan, Bhagwanni murti, this word murti comes again and again and again. Murti means the manifestation here, means the form here. It's the connection through love with the form here. We see this today also with different gurus and different saints and sages. The devotees who are really attached to them, they are like running after them. They love them so much. So that is prem. That is a type of love for the gurus. Here Maharaj is Maharaj is not denying that. In many places he's talked about that kind of love for the gurus. Maharaj has talked about that kind of deep love for Guru as a sadhana for Atmadarshan. That comes later on in Vartal 11 that is there. But here Maharaj is talking about the connection with Bhagwan. But that connection is such that the Murti itself, the Paramatma himself or itself, is like a Chintamani. Chintamani Tulya. Chintamani is a certain kind of a rock that is a transcendental rock. If you hold that in your hand, you get anything you want. Whatever you want, it will come. It will just be there. That is called Chintamani. That's why this word Chintamani is used. કે ભગવાનની મૂર્તિ છે તે તો ચિંતામણી તુલ્ય છે. And then he says here, જેમ ચિંતામણી કોઈક પુરુષના હાથમાં હોય તે પુરુષ જે પદાર્થને ચિંતવે તે પ્રાપ્ત થાય. He's giving an analogy. In Vachanamrut we will see analogies upon analogies, as with so many other teachers. So he's saying that if a person has Chintamani in their hand, whatever they are wishing, that object, that thing will be obtained. Similarly, this is a comparison. Similarly, he says here, Tem Bhagwanni Murti ને વિશે જેના મનની અખંડ વૃત્તિ રહે છે તે તો જીવ ઈશ્વર માયા અને બ્રહ્મ એમના સ્વરૂપને જો જોવાની ઈચ્છે તો તત્કાળ દેખે છે. Now this is a jam-packed line. This line here is very, very profound. It's one line. I'll read the whole line and then we'll go into it today and then probably many more times before we go beyond this. Well, not beyond, we cannot go beyond it, but before we go further. The whole line is like this. Tem Bhagwanni Murtine Vishe Jena Manya Akhand Vritti Rahe Che Te To Jeev, Ishwar, Maya અને બ્રહ્મ એમના સ્વરૂપને જો જોવાને ઈચ્છે તો તત્કાળ દેખે છે તથા વૈકુંઠ ગોલોક બ્રહ્મમહોલ એ આદિક જે ભગવાનના ધામ છે તેને પણ દેખે છે. Now what does this mean? He's saying that when our mental connection, manovritti, which also means all the indriya connection is inside that, covered inside there. When it is established in Paramatma, so again, in Gujarati, the word is rahe છે. તેમ ભગવાનની મૂર્તિને વિશે જેના મનની અખંડ વૃત્તિ રહે છે. રહે છે means that it is just remaining there. We mentioned it last time that all of the difficulty of sadhana dissipates in this state. That which was most difficult, that which is very hard to break through, so many blockages and problems and those kinds of difficulties are there in the system, they are gone. So there is a massive transition from all that difficulty into just a natural abiding naturally in the form of God. There's no agitation, there's no vasana, there's no disturbance, there's no rag, dvesh, there's no doshas, there's no pulling of one's internal energies in various directions. None of that is there. That is implied in these two words, rahe che. Rahe means remaining in. So, tem Bhagwanni Murti ne Vishay. This is interesting. Bhagwanni Murti ne Vishay means what? That you have Paramatma residing as Aksharatit Vyatirek Swarup, manifesting here as the incarnations in various ways, or the Mool Tattva, the Avatari Swarup. I mentioned it last time. Avatar and Avatari. So the Avatari Swarup is manifesting here. This is the idea. That will come later on. This distinction between Avatar, Avatari and all that thing. But not worrying about that now. When Maharaj is saying that Tem Bhagwanni Murti ne Vishay Jena Manya Akhand Vritti Rahe. What does that mean? What does this word Vishay means? Bhagwanni Murti ne Vishay Jem Manya Akhand Vritti Rahe. Vishay means that where it doesn't mean the Panch Vishayas like that. It means that the devotee's mind is revolving around Paramatma. That is really why this word Vishay is used, as opposed to the word Bhagwanni Murti Ma Manya Akhand Bhagwanni Murti Ma Jeni Akhand. Why the word Vishay is used and why the word Ma is not used in Gujarati? It has to do with the revolution of the mind around the Murti of Paramatma. See, this is why this Vachanamrut needs to really be read. We can read it in other languages, English and all that is okay, but actually there is a very specific and very quintessential use of language. Quintessential in the sense every word has a very tattvik and sadhana related intimation and meaning. So when Maharaj is saying Tem Bhagwanni Murti ne Vishay Jena Manya Akhand Vritti Rahe, that means that the Manovritti is revolving around the Murti. Is revolving around the Murti. Now, how does that happen? So, for example, let's look at some real practical examples in sadhana to understand how that happens. When a bhakta sits for bhajan kirtan, let's just start with that, bhajan. Generally, anybody doing a bhajan or listening to a bhajan, mind will go in so many other places. So to bring the mind just in the bhajan, to listen to the bhajan only, and be aware of other things going on and ignore them, not suppress them or fight with them, but to recognize that that is not where the attention needs to be placed. It is just to be placed in listening carefully to the bhajan, and then from that listening, the feeling behind it, the words behind it, the meaning behind it, the rhythm that allows our emotions and thoughts to connect. What does that do? That allows the devotee for devotional energy to open and the mind to eventually begin its revolution, meaning revolving around the Murti. The whole teaching in Vachanamrut, in the Vaishnava teaching in general, but in the Vachanamrut in particular, is about this. It is about Murti, the form of God. Form is there, the manifestation of Paramatma, which we cannot see. The Vyatirek beyond the Brahmans and all, we cannot see that. It's beyond our senses and the mind. So that same Paramatma through Krupa, through grace, manifests here as the incarnations of God. So the Avatarvad, which I mentioned last time, is accepted by Maharaj. So he's talking about the manifestation here. It's not just some abstract God, hypothetical faith, not that kind. So here Maharaj is saying, Bhagwanni Murti ne Vishay Manni Vritti Rahe chhe. See, it's a very, very powerful word. He says here, ભગવાનની મૂર્તિને વિશે જેના મનની અખંડ વૃત્તિ રહે છે, meaning that the mind and its function begins to think of Bhagavan, begins to pray to Bhagavan, it begins to surrender to Bhagavan, it begins to experience the devotional rasa, the bhakti rasa through devotion. And that rasa is bhakti ras. In that rasa, there is drinking the bliss of devotion. And there is asking God for blessings, asking Bhagwan to reveal himself. Asking Paramatma to come to the devotee. All of that is involved in this. So, from a sadhana point of view, Maharaj is saying here that sadhana actually has ended. When this stage is realized, where there is no more sadhana, there is no more effort placed. There is a state of the mind. The mind is naturally in a state of divine connection with Bhagavan. Bhajan, Kirtan, Manan, Chintan, mantra jap. It continues. And then the desire to do more and more and more expands. Then there's a relaxation, but even in the relaxation, there is connection with Bhagavan. These are all different types of yogic sadhana too. Again, to understand this is one thing, to talk about it is one thing. Only way to know what is being taught here by Maharaj is to try this. Then one will know what is involved in it. It is effort that is placed towards Akhanda Vritti to actually see what it's all about. And this requires courage. And it happens naturally when there is that kind of mahima. So Maharaj is saying here, Jem Bhagwan, Jem Chintamani ko ek purush na hatma hai. Now again, he's using the analogy of the Chintamani. He wants to make it clear what happens when you worship Bhagwan, and that connection is unbroken. So what happens there? So when that connection is akhanda, manni akhanda vritti rahe che, that the mind, the vritti just remains there. There's no effort placed to remain there. It just remains there. So what happens there? Te to jeev, ईश्वर माया ने ब्रह्म તેમના સ્વરૂપને જો જોવાને ઈચ્છે. Meaning what? If the devotee wants to see the Atma, wants to realize the Atma, wants to have darshan of the Atma, if that ichha comes, that in through the mind, I want to realize the Atma, I want to see it. I want to actually see the Atma. I mean, it's not through physical eyes, but through divine vision. To see the Jeev, it will happen immediately. The Ishwaras, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, etc., all the Ishwar quota, infinite number are there. They can be seen. The Swarup of Maya, Mahamaya can be seen. And Brahma, here Brahma, he puts it all together. The Akshara Muktas, the Akshara Brahma, and Parabrahma are all incorporated in this word Brahma. He said, Temna Swarup jo jovane ichhe, to tatkal dekhai. Tatkal meaning in the present, right there, and then they will appear right in front of you. That is a samadhi. That is a divine opening, divine vision. The devotee is sitting in dhyan, sitting in akhanda vritti. Akhanda vritti is there. And if in akhanda vritti the desire props up, that I want to see the Jeev, see the Ishvara, see Maya, see the Brahma Tattva, if that desire props up, then those tattvas, those spiritual entities, spiritual realities open up right away. Tatkal dekhe. And he also says that the different abodes of God, Vaikuntha, Goloka, Brahma Mohol, એ આદિક જે ભગવાનના ધામ છે તેને પણ દેખે છે. That means that these great transcendental regions of the planets and all, Vaikuntha is Swaminarayan Dev, Golok is Bhagwan Sri Krishna, Brahma Mohol is the Akshar Muktas, they stay there. E Adik JJ Bhagwan Dham, all kinds of dham are infinite in number, there's no limit to them. In the spiritual sky of Chidakash, you can see them. Can see them all. Tene pan dekhe che. Dekhe che means can see, but dekhe not with his eyes. Doesn't mean with the eyes. It is a spiritual vision. That is the power of Akhanda Vritti. That's the meaning here in this Vachanamrut. Now the beauty of this is that this is a matter of practice. This is a matter of experience. If somebody decides that they want to realize this, they want to experience this, what do they need to do? How can they experience this? You see, so the beginning stages are going into the temples and going and doing your regular pujas and archanas and all those things, and doing mantras, doing all different sadhanas. But all the sadhanas that are done, going to different gurus, listening to their teachings, contemplating on what they're saying, everything, that is only the very beginning stage. That itself is so huge. It's a big thing compared to not doing anything. But when that begins, then eventually one goes a bit further and remains further within it. So it is a deliberate attempt, conscious attempt to set this destination that I want Akhanda Vritti. If you want Akhanda Vritti, then that kind of environment, situation, circumstances, satsang, samagam, all of that needs to be present. Otherwise, this cannot be achieved. And it's also not an achievement. It is grace. The effort that is placed is sadhana. But by krupa, by grace, karuna drishti, the bhakta is given by krupa Akhanda Vritti. Because Akhanda Vritti is such that it is going to be, it cannot be established just by effort. Even though Maharaj is saying that it is the most difficult sadhana. Yes, as a sadhana it is the most difficult and you can try your best. But the actual Akhanda Vritti is a complete link with Paramatma. And that is Krupa. Because the Maya is the power of Bhagwan. That's the next question that will come in the next paragraph. Maya is the power of Parabrahma. And because of that, there's no sadhana, which is self-effort, that breaks through Maya as such. So Maya is that great power that doesn't bind the devotee anymore. So as the devotee keeps expanding and increasing the sadhana, there is prarthana, there's prayer to just remain in that. And as the devotee remains in the Swarupa of Bhagavan, by grace, by krupa, Paramatma comes to the devotee and the divinity opens up. That divinity opens up by grace, by krupa. That's what Sajanand Swami's teachings are. But nonetheless, the bhakta has any desire in approaching Akhanda Vritti, those desires get fulfilled. And he's talking about ichcha meaning desire, to see the Brahmanda and to see the 14 lokas and to see the Ishwaras and all such things. So Maharaj said, Tatkal. Tatkal means in the moment. There's no time period in this. If you're sitting in dhyan, in akhanda vritti, with bhajan, kirtan, manan, chintan, all of the psychological fragmentation, disturbances, problems are gone. So akhanda vritti is an anubhav. It is pure anubhav. And in that anubhav, there is also the opening of those dimensions beyond this world, beyond the Brahmanda, even into Vaikuntha, into Goloka, into Brahma Mahol, that is Akshardham. It is an opening beyond, out of this sansar. Now, naturally, the questions come, can a person living in this world with all of the mixtures of this world, can they do this? Who can do this? If they try to do it, how is this to be done? How can one live in this world with family and with job and with so many other things going on to do this? So that is another interpretation of akhanda vritti, that there is faith or nishta that Bhagwan is with me, and then one continues to do one's work, and then when free time is there, one dives back into bhajan, kirtan, manan, chintan, divine contemplation, etc. That diving back again and again, continuously diving back again and again, is the mark of a true devotee. It doesn't mean the person is not aware of other things. It's all connected together. Or person sees, that the bhakta sees the whole sansar with the spiritual eyes. Then the connection with Paramatma is there all the time. So to see the sansar, to live in the sansar with spiritual vision, with divine vision, with seeing through the Maya, that kind of vision is also part of akhanda vritti. Because the bliss that is there in akhanda vritti is indescribable. There's no way to describe it. There's no way to even come close to describing it, because the bhakta is lost again and again and again inside Paramatma. That is why vairagya is a very big component for the protection of bhakti. Bhakti is only protected when there is vairagya. Vairagya is a good support for this. So the bhakta is able to dive back again and again and again and again. Is able to give one's heart again and again and again. And this is experience. This is sadhana. So other things we do in life, we do them with the spiritual vision, with karma yoga, fine. To that extent, it's fine. But when there is free time, when there is opportunity to dive back into sadhana, the bhakta takes the opportunity and goes back again and again. Then the whole night time, the same thing is done. There is no other thought. There is just the absorption in the infinite consciousness of God. So this is the power of akhanda vritti. Now, whole Vachanamrut talks about this. Maharaj himself has raised this question at night time. Because at night time, who has thought of maintaining akhanda vritti at night time? We are in our own dream worlds and whatnot. But it is even in those dream worlds that Bhagwan ki krupa, Bhagwan manifests there. And that is of great relevance. Because that's one's own experience. The waking state, the dream state, etc. These all are there. But they also get purified. They also they reach a state of divinity. So along these lines, the whole Vachanamrut 262 or 273, either way we can look at it, is all about this only. How to do this, what is needed in this, how to be protected in this, and at the same time, to utilize the human body for this ultimate purpose. The ultimate purpose is to link with Paramatma. We are linked with vasanas, we're linked with different desires, different worries and tensions and raga and dvesha. Those things we're linked with, but we're also linked with the objects of the world. There's so much linkage with all of that the bondage is nearly just unending bondage. That is why when we link with Paramatma, that bondage ends. It dissolves. It is cut asunder. The amount of bondage that is existing in this sansar is just cut asunder. So that is what Sriji Maharaj is saying. He is saying that the attainment that is there from Akhanda Vritti is the realization of Bhagavan, that God is realized. And one lives in that great joy again and again. We see great saints today also. They are lost in that divinity and doing their work, whatever work they have to do in the world, they're doing that. But they are never damaging their inner connection with Bhagavan. Under any circumstances, they're not damaging it. So then the last line in this paragraph, Maharaj stated here, in Gujarati he stated, Mate Bhagavan na swarupma akhand vritti rakhvi, તેથી કોઈ કઠણ સાધન પણ નથી અને તેથી કોઈ મોટી પ્રાપ્તિ પણ નથી. It means to keep the mind in the Swarup of Paramatma without breakage is the most difficult sadhana, is the most difficult sadhan, and it is the greatest attainment itself. The attainment is Akhanda Vritti itself. Because now the mind is not functioning in its usual way with its usual tendencies. It is getting lost. It is getting lost in Bhagavan. It is getting lost in bhakti. It is getting absorbed in bhakti. So the ananda begins to open, and then there is only ananda. There is nothing else left actually. There is only the great Paramananda. This is the state of ekantik saints. So one of the big points to understand in Vachanamrut, this word ekantik dharma, ekantik saints, etc., ekantik sant. Ekantik means one who has dharma, jnana, vairagya and bhakti all solidified together, all combined together. That is called ekantik dharma, ekantik sthiti. Now, as we go forward in this same Vachanamrut, now there's a householder devotee. His name is Govardhan Bhai. And he asks this question about Maya. So here's the question. It's just a small paragraph here. Very powerful. ત્યારે પછી હરિભક્ત શેઠ ગોવર્ધન ભાઈએ શ્રીજી મહારાજ પ્રત્યે પ્રશ્ન પૂછ્યું છે. He asked Maharaj this question. He's a householder devotee. જેને ભગવાનની માયા કહે છે તેનું રૂપ શું છે? He says that which is called the Maya of God, that which is called Maya of Paramatma, of Bhagavan, what is its form? What is its, how can we understand it? What is its nature? The word Roop means form. What is the form of Maya? But so the way maybe that word was used, like in terms of, explain to me what is Maya, something like that, that's probably what is really meant. So then Gujarati Maharaj said, પછી શ્રીજી મહારાજ બોલે છે, ભગવાનનો ભક્તો હોય તેને ભગવાનની મૂર્તિનું ધ્યાન કરતા જે પદાર્થ આડું આવીને આવરણ કરે તેને માયા કહીએ. So let's look at the language carefully. First of all, this whole Vachanamrut is for devotees, bhaktas. So he keeps mentioning the devotees all the time. So Bhagwan bhakta, the devotee of God, the bhakta of Bhagwan. One who is a devotee of Bhagavan is going to try to do what? To maintain that Akhanda Vritti. So he says that when there is dhyan, he specifically says, Bhagwanni murtinu dhyan Karta je padarth adu avina avran kar. That means that anything that obstructs the meditative link with Bhagwan, anything or anyone that is an obstruction in that link, that is Maya. See the definition. It is a way to recognize what is Maya very, very experientially, rather than abstract way or philosophically. It is very, very experiential, which is great because that's what it needs to be. When a devotee is linking with Paramatma, the form of Bhagavan, through bhajan, kirtan, manan, chintan, mantra, etc., anything that comes as an obstruction in that link while meditating, so while the person is meditating, which is sadhana also, part of akhanda vritti, anything, any object, any thoughts, any other desires or images or any of those things that come and create an avarana. See, the word avaran is used here. So avaran means cover. It covers the link. It breaks the link with Bhagwan. Those padartha that are talked about here, so many things are there. It could be anything, It could be absolutely anything that is there in the world that is breaking this link. It says, Adu avina avaran kar, that is blocking the link. See, breaking the link in the sense that it is a blockage. Something that we want to see. We're looking at some object and now we hold a piece of paper, like a white paper, yellow paper, blue paper in front of us. You cannot see in front of you. It's a blockage. So the blockage that is there, that blockage, that thing that is blocking, the objects, the images and all those things that are blocking, that is called avaran. And that is Maya. So that is a definition of Maya. It is a practical way to recognize what is Maya. It is a practical, direct way to see what is the swarup of Maya. It is not simply a theory of Maya, not simply some abstraction. When one sits for akhanda vritti, when one sits for linking the mind with Bhagwan, which itself is a big thing. How many people do that? And if they do it, how often can they do it? And then akhanda vritti is the height of it all. So, when a person does that, anything that breaks that link, that is Maya. So these two questions, the first question is by Maharaj on akhanda vritti, on the greatest sadhana. The second question is regarding to detect Maya, is regarding how we can detect what is Maya. The detection of Maya is what is talked about. And the devotee needs to recognize what is that blockage. The word avarana is used here. Avaran means blockage. It means obstruction. I'll give you some examples. We are, let's say, trying to worship Bhagwan, sitting, let's say, for 1 hour, 2 hours. We want to sit for some time and just really get lost in that divine consciousness. Fine, beautiful. All of a sudden, we remember some image from the past. Something from the past pops up. Some argument we had with somebody, some worry, some tension, something it just pops up. It immediately blocks and obstructs that dhyan. This is the power of the mind. So to bring the mind into a state of akhanda dhyan, into an unbroken state of dhyan. How does that happen? By glory of God, mahima, mahatmya. The more mahima, glory we have, the more the mind will automatically stay there. The example that I like to give is if you have $1 billion check that is going to be cashed 1 year from now, under your name, it's a valid check, you've got the $1 billion somehow, you will not forget it for 1 second. You cannot forget that. You will put it in a locker and make multiple locks, but you cannot cash until 1 year. But your mind is there all the time, even though you're drinking food and eating and going to the bathroom and maybe still maintaining a job and paying bills and doing everything. The one thing that you know is that you're not going to lose that check. And maybe the deal was like this: if you lose that check, then you don't get the $1 billion. You don't get a replacement check. That's it. If you lose that one, you're as you are. So there is not 1 second even where that individual who has a $1 billion check is going to forget where it is. In fact, doesn't even have to try to think about it. Why is that? When Maharaj is asking the question, we have to place effort to try to think about Bhagavan and to connect with Bhagavan. That's because that is a deficiency in Mahima, Mahatmya, glory of that which is in front of us. What we have obtained, we don't know. If you give that $1 billion check, nice, good, big check, to a 1-year-old kid, what do you think that 1-year-old kid will do? That 1-year-old kid has no understanding of what even money is, not to mention $1 billion. He just sees it as a piece of paper. That's it. And will probably play around with it and probably turn it into a ball and throw it away. And that is what people are doing with regards to the incarnations of God and the scriptures and Bhagwan Sambandhi Kriya and the Murtis of God and the great sages also. The 9th Murti, we talked about that last time. They don't have the significance of what it is. So they put it into a ball and just throw it away. And they themselves are still at that baby stage and remaining poor as anything. But if one wants to be wealthy beyond imagination, beyond any kind of limit, where the bliss of infinite universes is like an atomic particle compared to the body of God, compared to the bliss of Bhagwan ki Murti, Bhagwan ni Murti, then this dhyan is required. Then this dhyan is the thing. Now, that same 1-year-old kid begins to grow, and when the time comes, maybe at the age of 15, 16, 17, at some point, there is an understanding of what is in the hand, that this check is made out to that child for $1 billion, cashable or depositable at the age of 18. Oh my God. Even then the person may not know what to do with that. Similarly, this Murti of Paramatma is beyond everything, beyond all material existence. Vitirek Swarup, Garada Pratham number 7, we'll get to that later on. And the dhyan on that, dhyan connection. Why Maharaj is using the word dhyan? Because you are losing your ignorance and infusing by the grace of God the Murti of Paramatma. This is Murti sadhana. And when one is going into the Murti, one is absorbed in the Murti further. Maharaj already said, the whole spiritual reality is going to open in front of the devotee, if the devotee wants that, if the bhakta wants that. So just as that person who has a $1 billion check cashed after 1 year and assume for a moment they will not get a replacement if they lose it, there will not be 1 minute of the day, even though they'll go to sleep at night, they have to go to sleep with peace of mind that all the doors are locked and nobody touches it, and I mean there is such a protection of that check, is it not so? Because of why? Because of what it is. When you deposit it, you're going to, my God, there's going to be $1 billion in your name. When the time comes to deposit that check, that moment comes. But until that moment, there is a continuous akhanda vritti. There is no break. Even the person is doing different things. The glory, the bliss is so much of what I have, what is there. The person has not deposited that they're still as they are, but the whole mind frame, the emotional state, everything is changed. All the poverty, all the limitations in the samsara are gone. Unless a person is unhealthy. Other than that, other unhealthy body or mind, other than that, all the limitation is gone. They can buy almost anything they want. They can go anywhere they want. They can have any material experience they want. Who is to stop them? If they have $1 billion after tax in their name, who is going to stop them? They can buy almost anything they want. Not anything, but pretty close. So how can one forget that? And now that's an analogy. This is called prapti. In Gujarati, this is called prapti. Prapti means that which you have attained. Bhagwan ka jo swarup hai, God comes as incarnations and comes in human form. That is called prapti. But one has to recognize, one has to know what it is. See, when we look at this Vachanamrut, what is this Vachanamrut actually? What is the power in it? What is the possibility in it? What is that depositing of that check in this? We take this Vachanamrut and deposit it inside our mind, inside our heart, and start to do what it's saying by the grace of all the gurus and worship Bhagavan Paramatma. When we do this, that truth that is behind the words, the reality behind the language is going to open. The reality of the $1 billion hidden in the check, behind the check, is going to open once it is deposited on the right date. The check is dated. Similarly, when the sadhana begins, one doesn't reach Akhanda Vritti right away. It depends on how intense one is, and also that vritti will remain there. Like Maharaj said, vritti remains there, rahe che. When you have what is called the glory of the prapti of what I have to realize what I have been given. If Sachin doesn't realize the grace that Sachin has been given, how foolish! The 1-year-old, 2-year-old kid has not the development to realize what is a $1 billion check in his or her name. If Sachin doesn't recognize in Sachin's life what has been given by grace and is still poor from inside and crying like a foolish person in the sansar, and Bhagwan ki prapti hui hai, satsang ki prapti hui hai, shastron ki prapti hui hai, sab guruon ki prapti hui hai, if we don't recognize that, then who is the biggest fool than that? Maharaj himself said in Garada Pratham 20 Vachanamrut, Agnani ma Agnani, Ghela ma Ghelo, Neech ma Neech, is the most ignorant person, the most downtrodden person, the most foolish person, using strong language. When we have been given by Krupa the most extraordinary opportunity for Atyantika Kalyana, Atyantika Dukha Nivrutti, for the highest of realization, we have been given this opportunity, and we use that check as just a piece of paper and treat it as a piece of paper and use it, to roll it up and not realizing what it is, and just put it anywhere, and then eventually it will go into the trash. How sad. How terrible that is. When satsang is in one's life, satsang meaning sant ka sang, shastron ka sang, shastra in Gujarati, sad vichar no sang, shastra no sang, sat purush no sang, sad vichar no sang, atma no sang, paramatma no sang. That is the sangha of all of these scriptures, the atma, paramatma, Satpurush, the great sages, Sadvichar, and Satshastra, these words written in Vachanamrut, when we have Sangha of these words, Sangha meaning It is an absorption that is called sang. Sang is not just like reading and forgetting like that. No, no, no. An example would be if I'm holding a whole bunch of fresh rose petals in my right hand, and I'm holding them for, let's say, 25 minutes, and they're kind of just whirling them and whatnot. And then I put them down, and then I kind of just clean off my hand. Just wipe my hand, not with any detergent or anything, just with a small tissue paper, so all the rose petals are off my hand. My hand is going to smell like roses. That is called sang. That is what is meant by sang. Sang means that absorption, that contact is of such a quality that the fragrance of that which we have contact with is staying with us. That is called sang. And this is Brahma Vidya. This is the highest. There is nothing beyond this realization. It is beyond everything. Jeev, Ishwar, Maya, Brahm, Parabrahm. What more can there be? And we will talk about those later on in more detail. What is called the Panchbhed. But what is needed here is realization of who is in front of me. What do I, like the check example. What is in front of me? What has been given to me? Do I know? Vachanamrut, Bhagavad Gita, Swaminarayan, Vedras, Vivek Chudamani, the Bhagavad Puran, the great lineage of all the sages, they have been given to us freely as a supreme gift, which is beyond any imagination. The only thing that is required is to recognize what has been given. And when a person begins to recognize what has been given, that recognition brings about devotion. And in that devotion, the connection with Paramatma occurs, that the source of all Ananda Kanda is Bhagavan Sakshat. The source of joy is Paramatma. Then the Maya does not impact. But it impacts the individual who is deficient in realizing what has been given. The person who has that $1 billion check doesn't know that, forgets what it is, doesn't realize what it is, and is working somewhere for $25,000 a year for the whole life. How sad that is. How unfortunate that is. That is poverty. That is poverty despite being wealthy. When we have Vachanamrut, when we have these extraordinary scriptures and all the sages now, everything is online these days, and also in other places, we have everything available for us. And if we do not drink the bliss of satsanga, then how can we say? Shankaracharya ji stated a person verily is committing suicide again and again in Vivek Chudamani. We covered it in our daily satsang. Why Shriji Maharaj is asking this question? What is the purpose of even putting such a question? And at night time of all times. Because he is in the role of a Sadguru there. And he, out of compassion, every Sadguru out of compassion is propelled by truth to express the truth. And Maharaj is speaking directly that which is in his own anubhav. He is not going to speak anything in Vachanamrut. And he spoke for 30 years. He spoke for many years, maybe 28 years or something like that. He spoke for many, many years. But he spoke, whatever he taught, whatever he spoke only from his anubhav. And that is the mark of an enlightened being. He himself has said, in Gujarati he said, Mari pratyaksh ajmavel vache, anubhave karine me siddha kareli vache. Through anubhav, through my own realization, that is being spoken, and what is being spoken is me. Madhavani Madharupam Shikshapatri. What is spoken is me. And Maharaj here, out of tremendous compassion, is giving the highest that anybody can give. And that is the technology of Akhandavritti. Akhandavritti is the eye on the prize. It's like that we're using a worldly example. $1 billion check, $100 billion check, $1 trillion check, $100 trillion check, something like that. Even that's too small. Actually, all those things are just droplets only compared to even the Atma. For not to even mention the Ishvaras and all, that's all beyond. The Atma Tattva itself is Akhanda Ananda. No objects in this sansar can give Akhanda Ananda. They're only just reflections. That's all. They're waves of energy and reflection. So Maharaj is giving the highest of the highest of the highest truth, that Akhandavritti is the thing to be in. And when Akhandavritti is there, we're living in the sansar, we do our work in the sansar. Sansar is a divided phenomena. Sansar is a limited phenomena. The only purpose of the sansar, from Swaminarayan point of view, is to establish Akhandavritti, using what is needed in the sansar, serve the sansar, have vairagya from the sansar, leave the sansar alone. It is on a different track. It is on a track towards Rajogun, Tamogun, Sattvagun, more and more engulfment in Maya. And that increased engulfment in Maya is this nature of the sansar. But those who are mumukshu, for them this Vachanamrut is there. For those who want to realize the highest of truths, Vachanamrut is there. For those who have realized the repetitive and binding nature of the sansar, Vachanamrut is there. For those who have recognized the tremendous amount of pain and suffering that is there again and again in the sansar, for them Vachanamrut is there. Other people, that's okay. They're on their track. As the Gita says, leave all those people alone. They're going to be stuck. They're just going in cycles until. But see, the glory is when a bhakta, a great sage or a mukta, travels in the sansar, their vibration begins to uplift all those who are around. And that is also discussed here in Vachanamrut in many, 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 many places. About the aura, the vibration, the divinity of great saints. Their presence is liberating. Their presence is uplifting. It is discussed many times in all Swaminarayan scriptures, other Hindu scriptures also. It is because that is a state of realization. In Vachanamrut Garada number 27, he says, such a saint is the foundation of the sansar, of the world. The world is even sustained, as many have stated, because there's certain people who are at the highest vibrations, keeping this world intact. Otherwise, humanity would have blown itself out long time ago. That point is also discussed in Vachanamrut, Pratham number 27. Amazing. But again, the original Gujarati language, the Manan Chintan on that, it is a matter of contemplation. The power of Vachanamrut is in every word, every sentence, every idea, just like other scriptures. But Vachanamrut is a synthetical, quintessential scripture. It is an extract. Saransh, in Gujarati it is called Saransh. Sarva Shastro no Sar. In satsang it's a common expression. Sarva Shastro no Sar e Vachanamrut. It is Saransh. It is the essence, the final product of milk. What is the final product? Ghee. You can make butter out of it, you can have chas out of it, you can have yogurt out of it, you can have so many things. What is the final, when all the other impurities are gone, there's only the 100%, the ghee. This is Vachanamrut is 100% ghee. All the other impurities are taken out. That which is needed directly for Aitantika moksha is given right from this very first Vachanamrut, Akhandavritti. And what a statement that if the bhakta has a desire props up just to, even out of curiosity, what is the Atma like? Immediately it will reveal. Actually, a pure bhakta doesn't have those desires. has only desired, thy will be done, only you, my Lord, that's it. But by the grace of God, this is written in Garada Pratham number, I guess it's 41, 40 maybe, I'm trying to remember the number, where by force the bhakta is given all the siddhis, the aishwaryas, is given all the darshan of all the dham, everything is given by force, but Bhagwan gives it to him. He said, you're not asking for it, I'm going to give you anyway. So the bhakta accepts it as a prasada. The bhakta doesn't have desire for anything except Paramatma, to please Paramatma, to love Paramatma. Because in that loving relationship, there is bliss upon bliss. There's just bliss, overflowing bliss. But the reason Maharaj has talked about these abodes and the Ishwaras and all, he's saying that yes, if the devotee has a desire to see what is Golok, if you want to see that, have a Khandavritti, try for a Khandavritti, pray to Paramatma, ask for his blessings. Once a Khandavritti is reached, by the Krupa of Bhagavan, those dimensions open up. But the Sukshma Sharir has to be crossed. The Vasanas have to be crossed. They have to be let go. And so those psychological disturbances, difficulties are the biggest problem. But Akhandavritti solves that. Akhandavritti is the biggest medicine for every problem. It is the medicine to cure the disease of birth and death. So then Maya Maya is what? It is an obstruction in Akhandavritti. That is Maya. So in a simple language, even a villager can understand this. Oh my God, I'm trying to connect with Bhagwan. Anybody, somebody who is illiterate person is trying to connect with the form of God, with the Swarup of Paramatma. And he says, that things that are obstructing me, that is Maya. I understand that right away. Maybe big scholars may not understand, but a simple villager might understand. That is the other power in Vachanamrut. That Vachanamrut can be understood by the most common, uneducated person, and it is also for the highest of the greatest scholars and pandits and sadhaks and yogis and paramansas and whatnot. It is for them and everybody else in between. That is its real potentiality. When we look at this question, like Govardhan Bhai asked, what is the Swarup of Maya? See the answer. So he's talking about Paramatma descending here. Then Dhyan, meditation on that Paramatma, and anything that obstructs is Maya. It's a recognition of what is Maya, de-identification with that which is the obstruction, reconnection again and again with Bhagavan. And in doing so, by staying in that reconnection, the glory and the ananda continues. And then Anubhav is there too. Anubhav is there. Chintamani is there. If you want to, whatever it comes, it's just like if you have the $1 billion deposited inside the bank account, you can go to any mall in this country and buy anything you want. Guaranteed. If you're a billionaire, you can go to any mall, any car dealership, you can buy any car you want, you can buy any piece of clothing you want, you can buy as much clothing as you want. It is like Chintamani. Chintamani is that rock that you get anything you want. Similarly, that check was like the Chintamani. You have to learn to deposit that. Here, Maharaj is saying the bhakta is so lost in the highest of the realization. Whatever is the wish in the heart, even for the Sakam bhaktas who are wanting the material things, they will get that too. The devotees who are also wanting to see the spiritual, the tattvas, they can get that too. And those who only are param nishkam, only are interested in pleasing the Paramatma, they'll get that too. That is the glory, the mahima of Vachanamrut. Just these two paragraphs, right on our screen. Just these two paragraphs is a direct guidance. It's a guidance, it's a clear Agnya, it's a clear way of proceeding. And if one does this, it's a matter of trying to do this, placing the effort. It requires courage, it requires glory, but then the effort is done naturally. It depends on how you look at it. How much effort does a person need to keep thinking about the fact that the person has $1 billion check? They don't have to place any effort. The mind will automatically remain there. They don't have to place any, they will do everything, but it will just remain there. They will always know where it is. They will think about it. They'll think about how to use it and how to plan for it and what to do with it and whatnot. There's no effort in that. It is an effortless absorption. That is called asadharan mahima. That is extraordinary mahima. When we have that level of glory, automatically akhanda vritti is there. Automatically Maya goes away. Automatically all other obstructions go away. All of the ignorance falls away because there is an unobstructed glory that comes. There's no entanglement in the sansar. Dharma, Gnan, Vairagya, Bhakti automatically are there. Everything is there at one time in its entirety when there is the highest of glory of who is in front of me, who is with me. Kiski prapti hui hai? It's called prapti. It's the realization of what I have. Sometimes, we have Shivling at home, or we have Bhagwan Krishna Murti at home, or Sajanand Swami ki Murti hoti hai, or anything, any form of God, or Gurus even, where people keep. What is the Mahima? What is the glory? That Mahima is everything. And on that basis only this all opens up. And then sadhana continues. And then while living in this world, one lives in this world unobstructedly. The body also has its changes and whatnot. The body will go eventually. The Atma links with Paramatma. And that is the goal. The goal is akhanda vritti. The sadhana is akhanda vritti. Everything, saints, temples, scriptures, every spiritual activity and all the other activity in the world that is going on, it has only one purpose, to realize this. Otherwise, one can remain inside the sansar, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, which is beyond our understanding, Bhavasagar. So Maharaj has said that I have come to destroy the causal body. Main karan sharir ke nash ke liye mera avatar hai. That's what he himself said this. I have come to destroy the causal body. And the causal body is destroyed by the absorption in the Swarup of Paramatma. That is how it is destroyed. Right, so we'll stop here for today. We'll continue in Vachanamrut on many other angles. And then we will also get into the third paragraph next time, where Muktanand Swami has asked the question about what happens when a devotee leaves the physical body. And what is the Archi Marg? And that connects with Pratham number 21. But Maharaj is talking about the Brahmamaya Sharir. What is that divine body? So that in the abodes of God. So we'll get to all those things another time. But this is where Akhanda Vritti and Maya, the question of Akhanda Vritti, the question of my two questions are in the very beginning of Vachanamrut. And on that basis we can proceed. Okay. Hari Om.